Okay, I think everybody got the same answer, so that's good. So for part A, first let's balance it. Emma, what do you got?
6 CL2 and 4 PCL3.
Yeah, so one of these, that's 4 P's, so I need a 4 here. That's 12 CLs, so I need 6 there to make 12 CLs. Good. All right, how many moles of PCl3 will be produced if 2.5 moles of Cl2? So it's 6 over 4 equals, right? 6 is my Cl2, 4 is PCl3. 2.5 moles of Cl2 and then X, right? So it's 6 over 4 equals 2.5 over X. 2.5 times 4, what is that? Why can't I do that in my head right now? 10? Yeah, 10 divided by 6. So X equals 10 divided by 6. So X equals 1.67 moles of Cl2. Don't forget the unit moles, MOL or MOLE. Doesn't matter. Questions? Makes sense. If I'm reacting much less Cl2, I will get much less PCl3. All right. So now part B. How do we turn that number into grams? So it wants to know how many grams of Cl2. So Cl2 has a molar mass or a gram formula mass. Either term is the same. 35.5 plus 35.5. Or if you did 35 to 35, that's fine. So either 70 grams in 1 mole or 71 grams in 1 mole. The Regents isn't going to care. The teacher who's grading, if it's a multiple choice, the answer would be very close, so it doesn't matter either way. All right, so that's going to be the number we use from the chart. So what does that tell us? Again, the mass of Cl2 in 1 mole is whatever the mass on the chart is. Each Cl is 35 or 35.5. So that's 71 grams in 1 mole of Cl2. So if I was holding a mole of Cl2, it would have a mass of 71 grams. That's what that means. Okay, why is that useful? I want to know how many grams are in 1.67 moles. Just all proportions. I teach as much as I can in proportions. It makes sense to me. Hopefully it makes sense to you. So if there's 71 grams in 1 mole, how many grams are in 1.67? It's going to be slightly higher. Not a whole lot higher.
Is it 1.67 the other thing? PCl3.
What's the question asking for?
PCl3.
Grams of PCl3?
Yeah.
Oh. Guess what?
I think, right?
Oh, that's wrong then.
No, how many grams
How
of
many grams of
CL2?
CO from part A?
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
What did part A ask for again?
How many moles of PCl3 will produce if 2.5 moles of Cl2 react?
So he's right, PCl3. So this number right here is PCl3. That's what we solved for in part A. Let's back up, make sure we all understand. I made a mistake. He's right, but I want to make sure everyone else understands. In part A, you were solving for how many moles of PCl3, not Cl2. That make sense to everybody? Read it?
No.
We'll read part A again. You don't have to read it out. Read it to yourself. It's asking how many moles of PCl3 if 2.5 moles of Cl2. Right? Isn't that what I wrote? Yeah. I just want to make sure we're all on board because that actually is a huge issue. A lot of kids can do the math. You can do the proportions and you can do all that, but then you kind of forget what you're solving for. So that's important. So that's on me. I should have labeled that. So in part A, at least in class, I should have labeled 1.67 moles of PCl3. So that way we all know that's how many moles of PCl3. So let me restart that conversation. So we're not looking up the mass of 2 CLs. Well, we are, but not for Cl2. This is the mass we need now. So how are we going to figure that out? So P is 31 plus, and now we have 3 CLs. So that's 35.5 plus 35.5 plus 35.5. And again, if you keep those all if you keep them all 35, it's fine. This is P, Cl, Cl, Cl. So what I'm showing you is how to get the gram form of the mass for this. So when I add these 4 numbers up, that gives me the mass in 1 mole of PCl3. So, who has that? Zeke, obviously.
No, I did the mass of 137 CL. That's what you wrote.
Got it.
So, I don't have it.
Didn't I ask for this problem?
No, you asked for the mass of the CL. So I got 175.
I'm losing my mind right now. Who wrote down the question I wrote down? Thank you.
I did the question. Go up there.
Okay. Why the heck did I wrote this? How many grams of CL?
Yeah.
Not how many grams from part A?
You said how many
CL2
grams
from part
of
A.
CL in part A, which would be 2.5. Which would give
I'm not doubting you. I just need someone else, whoever wrote it. I'm doubting myself.
I just did it.
All right. I see what I did. Fuck,
You were recording, right?
Yeah, but I just gonna let it go. Okay. Here's where let's back up. Okay. So the answer to part A is 1.67 moles. That's correct. We did that. Everyone's on the same page. Now, part B, for some reason, I asked how many grams of Cl2. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know why I wrote that. What I meant to do was take your answer from part A and convert it to grams. That's what I meant. But this is what I wrote. So I apologize for the confusion. We're going to do another one anyway. But let's answer this question because that's what I wrote. So, in part A, how many moles of Cl2 did we have? In part A, 2.5. So in part A, we had 2.5 moles of Cl2. Okay. So I apologize for all the confusion. Let's shake it off. Let's focus here on how we solve this now. So, if this is how many moles of Cl2 we had in part A, part B wants to know how many grams is that. So basically we're converting this into grams of Cl2. So we know the moles, how many grams is that equivalent to? Which is good practice, we need to know how to do this. I just got all confused in my head as to what I asked and then whatever, moving on. So here's how we do it. Back to what I originally wrote. Cl2 is equal to 35.5 plus 35.5. That equals 71 grams. Why is that useful? That's how many grams are in 1 mole. So now our proportion will be 71 grams in 1 mole is equal to X grams in 2.5 moles. So we're just taking the mass of Cl2 from the chart. That's equal to 1 mole. That's the left side of the proportion. Now we know how many moles we have. How many grams is that equivalent to? Well, obviously it's more than 71. It's going to be 2.5 times more. So now, someone just do 71 times 2.5. 177.5 grams. So that's the answer to this question. Let's do another one because that was a disaster.
Do another one.
What's up?
I think Coach Stevens is going to play with us in that game too.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I guess. I mean, whatever. I don't know how many teachers we have. Not that many yet.
I don't think we have many.
Yeah. All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
He
So-
coaches girls' moms, right?
Yes, he
Yeah.
did. He'll help us.
Yeah. All right.
How you doing, Ray?
We're going.
All right. Let's do another one. One that isn't so confusing. Okay. I'll keep this very straightforward. How many moles are in? I'll make up a number. 100.00 grams of Na3PO4. And I want you to round to 3 sig figs. This is a very straightforward question for a mole mass or mole gram calculation. So I'm giving you grams. I want you to convert that to moles. That's what it's asking. How do you do that? Exactly what we just did. You look up the mass of this compound on the chart. That's equal to 1 mole. So you have the mass in 1 mole. Well, how many moles are in 100 grams? So I'll let you mess with that for a couple minutes, then we'll go over it. I think I'll have you actually talk to each other also. So in a couple minutes, have you pair up and go over it. Okay, go ahead, pair up. So somebody, Zeke, talk to Vanessa.
I counted how many grams are in 1 mole, and I got 164. So I did, I added up the mass, and that's how many grams are in 1 mole, so then I put X moles and 100 grams, so then I did the proportion that way, and I got 6.6.
134,000 moles?
Yeah.
Oh, moles.
Backwards.
Yeah, you did.
I got 0.610. I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, if that's how many moles you had, that would be a lot.
Yeah, I did backwards.
Okay, I'm going to fix it.
What did you get?
I
What
did, I got,
did you do?
I added up all the masses.
Then that's
Yeah,
how
all
many
the masses.
masses in 1 mole.
Yeah, I
And
know.
you're asking how many is in 100.
Yeah,
100
so
grams.
you set it up as a proportion.
In the proportion,
And
because
X
there's
over,
164 is 1 mole, and then 100 grams is X mole, so you have to figure
yeah,
out.
I got the, when I added up all the things, I got it.
Waiting 2 weeks.
Oh, that's why I screwed up.
Gotcha. It's a simple thing. You knew what you're doing.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing, I just got the numbers.
Rich gonna run home.
So with these proportions, just make sure you keep grams over moles or moles over grams. So however you do these proportions, if you want to put grams and moles here, make sure you put grams and moles here. If you want to flip that and put moles over grams, that's fine. You got to keep moles over grams. So it's got to be the same unit on top and on bottom. So what do we get for answers?
I got 0.610.
0.610. 1.18. Any other numbers? Kara, what'd you get? Amanda, what'd you get?
610.
0.610. What'd you get? 1.17. So U2 versus U2. Alright, let's
They're
find
probably
out.
right. Just
So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find the gram form and the mass of this. So how do we do that? It's 23 plus 23 plus 23 plus 31 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16, right? So
Shoot, yeah.
your Na3PO4, so this, we have 3 NAs. We have 3 NAs. We have 1 P at 31, and then we have 4 oxygens, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 16 times 4 is 64, plus 31, plus 23, plus 23, plus 23. And what do we get for the molar mass or grams?
164.
What is it? 164 grams per mole. So we all, whoever did that correctly, so you two, anyone else, just to make sure? All right. Okay, so now I'm going to put 164 here, and that's how many grams of this stuff. What's the name of that? Sodium Close. Phosphate. Sodium phosphate. So there is my ratio on the left side. 1 mole of this stuff, if I'm holding 164 grams, that's 1 mole of sodium phosphate. That's a lot of sodium phosphate. So, that's 1 mole. The question says, all right, what if you have 100 grams? How many moles is that equivalent to, right? So then, I overheard Zeke, and he said, oh, I just did it backwards. That's fine. I mean, that's going to happen. Mistakes happen. Just obviously on test, just make sure you guys have your units labeled correctly, and then you won't make that mistake. So, it's going to be 100 divided by 164. 100 divided by 164 equals X. So we're going to go with this one. 0.610 grams. That's right. So the stoichiometry stuff, the homework that was due today, balancing an equation, using the ratio, getting moles. But now this is another step. It's can you go from grams to moles, moles to grams. So the other problems actually are kind of harder because I put it all into one, right? And these are just straightforward grams to moles, moles to grams. But it's all related. It's all using proportions, ratios, moles, grams. Let's do another one.
0 grams. Big head Zeke.
I wrote grams.
Yeah.
Monday morning, I guess. All right. How about this? How many grams? So I'll underline grams so we all are on the same page. Are there in 0.250 moles of, you know what, I can use this as a review. Iron 2 oxide. So we can kill 3 birds with one stone. That's impressive. 4 birds. Even if it was 3 crows, I'd have no problem. I hate those things. They're noisy. They kill all the birds, helpless babies. Alright, so before I release you here, before you do any work to solve the problem, let's make sure we all know what iron 2 oxide is. So I'll give you 30 more seconds to figure out on your own, then we'll go over it. I would wait for me to go over the formula before you do any work, because you might be wrong. All right, who knows it? Raise your hands. Iron 2 oxide, who's got it? No one wants to raise their hands? See?
FeO.
Yes, it's FeO. The reason is Fe is +2, that's what that means, +2. O is -2, so I only need 1 of each. FeO. Okay, so go ahead and now solve the problem. And when your neighbor or partner, whatever you want to call them, is done, compare your answers and make sure label the right unit. Your answer is in grams. Zeke screwed up last problem. No, I did. I labeled the wrong unit. I would have lost a point. You gotta make sure you have the right unit. Not the wrong answers. We all agree 75 grams per mole.
Yeah, 72.
Iron is
56.
oh 56.
You're just off your game today.
Dude, I did the same exact thing. What is it? 72?
Yeah.
You did the same thing? Oh, you know what? I looked at cobalt. You know, it's good that I make these mistakes sometimes. Like, I'm not covering. I mean, I screwed up. Whatever. Yeah, I'm making mistakes today. But hold on, real quick. But kids do that. You look at the wrong one. So, anyways, what's the answer?
18.
18 exactly?
18 grand.
18 grand. All right. Tomorrow, you're gonna have just practice problems to do since I won't be here.